If you're running your own business or about to be, then you'll know just how important it is to manage your cash flow. If you want to run an efficient business where suppliers get paid on time, stock doesn't run out, and customers keep on buying, then you need to ensure that you've got a healthy amount of cash within your business at all times. As somebody that runs a fast-growing e-commerce business, having a lot of cash to hand is a pretty difficult task because whenever I'm paid by my customers, I usually have to then immediately transfer that money to my supplier in order to buy more stock and to continue growing. Now that is quite a risky strategy because if an unexpected bill comes in or I need to make a business purchase, with so little available cash in the business, I may find myself in the position where I can't afford to pay someone until much later on in the month when I receive more funds from customer sales. Now, fortunately, I've never been in that position because I make use of an essential tool that every business owner needs to have, and that is a rewards credit card. Credit cards often come with a bit of bad press, and that's because historically people haven't used them responsibly. But when used in the right way, they're a huge asset for your business's growth, and they'll give you a lot more flexibility if an unexpected bill comes through the door. And when used correctly and responsibly, they don't come with any interest charges whatsoever. If you're not familiar with how a rewards business credit card can be a massive benefit to you, then let me explain. Every time that you have a bill that your business needs to pay, whether that be stock, advertising, or a service fee, you charge it to your business credit card. As soon as you do that, the person or company that you're paying will receive their funds immediately, and you get what you've paid for. And unlike paying with a debit card, your bank balance is going to be left untouched until the end of your credit card's statement period, which is usually around a month or so in length. And as a nice little bonus, depending on the rewards card that you go for, you either get cashback or points, which you can use on flights, hotels, or even buying products on Amazon. I have a rewards credit card for every business that I run, and they are fantastic at not only allowing me to grow quickly by helping me with my cash flow management, but also in providing a range of other benefits. Whilst there are tons of business reward cards out there, the three providers that I'm going to be discussing today are Capital on Tap, Amex, and the relatively new Jeeves, all of which have slightly different offerings that may or may not appeal to you. The Capital on Tap credit card is a cashback credit card, which is aimed at small to medium-sized businesses that have a turnover of at least £2,000 per month or £24,000 a year. Now, the great thing about this rewards card is that it's completely free and it still offers 1% cashback. And that is something that's quite rare to see these days, particularly with the main competitor, Amex. Now, depending on your preferences, you can choose to be rewarded with cash or with shopping vouchers, with both options being allocated to your statement at the end of each month. The Capital on Tap card is a Visa, which is universally accepted online and in pretty much every single retailer across the country. So whatever it is that you're planning on purchasing, you can rest assured that in all likelihood, you'll be able to put it onto your card and be rewarded as a result. My Capital on Tap card has been a key factor in allowing my business to grow to £170,000 in monthly revenues. And over the past few years, it's given me over £3,000 in cashback rewards, all for purchases that I make in the normal course of business. In addition to the 1% cashback feature, Capital on Tap also offers its cardholders fee-free foreign exchange transactions, which means that you won't pay a penny in bank charges whenever you make a purchase in a different currency to the pound. So if you're a business that has costs in euros or dollars, this is a fantastic benefit that is going to save you thousands throughout your business's life. In terms of repaying any expenses that you incur on your credit card, Capital on Tap gives you up to 56 days to repay the balance before you start to incur interest charges. That gives you a huge amount of flexibility if you run a business like mine, where you incur expenses and then receive income from your customers at different times. So having that time to repay the balance is a massive benefit. The Capital on Tap card is definitely worth getting if you're looking for a cashback rewards card that gives you flexibility when it comes to cash management. American Express is the second type of card that I also use, and those guys offer a range of reward cards that historically have always been the most popular. And that's because it wasn't until fairly recently that other competitors started to make themselves known. Whilst American Express or Amex do offer a number of different cards, the one that I've used with my business over the past few years is their Business Gold card. And that is a rewards card as well, but it does actually differ from Capital on Tap's offering in a number of key ways. First of all, like with most of Amex's cards, there is an annual fee, and the Gold card's fee is £175 per year. Whilst the first year is free in order to entice you to join, you'll be billed every year thereafter. So you really need to ensure that you make the most of the features and benefits of the card in order for that fee to be worth it. Now, before we go through the rewards component of Amex's Gold card, let's cover the main differences between this offering and the rewards card from Capital on Tap. Firstly, as the name suggests, this card is an Amex and not a Visa like Capital on Tap's. Whilst most major retailers do accept Amex, a small proportion don't. So there may be some scenarios where you'll need to pay with a backup card, and that could be an inconvenience. Secondly, this card is a charge card. It's not a credit card, which, depending on how you look at it, could be a bad thing. So a charge card, if you're not familiar, it differs from a credit card in that there's no preset credit limit. Instead, you'll be allocated a certain amount of expenditure, and that amount will be increased accordingly each month depending on your business's growth. However, regardless of what you end up spending in that monthly period, you need to pay off the balance in full at the end of your next statement period, which is up to 56 days in length. The charge card's repayment requirement differs to a credit card's, which gives you less flexibility because you have to make the payment in full at the end of your statement period, whereas with a credit card, you can make a full or a partial repayment. Now, to me, this isn't actually a disadvantage because with my credit card, I pay it off in full at the end of each statement period anyway, and I do that to avoid any interest charges. But perhaps your preferences on repaying your bill differs, in which case Amex's charge card may not be suitable for your business. In terms of the rewards component of the Amex Gold card, well, these are actually pretty good if you use them effectively. Spending is rewarded with points instead of cashback, where for every £1 that you spend, you'll get 1 point, with an additional 10,000 points awarded if you spend £20,000 or more in a 3-month period. So whenever you get your points, you can redeem them for flights with airlines such as BA, Virgin, and so on. Or if you're not a frequent flyer, you can convert them into gift cards or as a credit to your statement, which works out at an effective cashback rate of around 0.5%. So not quite as attractive as Capital on Tap's. But the majority of people that have these Amex cards, they use them for points on flights, which can provide massive savings and make things like business class and first class flying incredibly affordable, or in some cases even free. So if you're going to go down the route of getting an Amex rewards card, my advice is to use the points towards flights instead of anything else. Other benefits of the card include free travel insurance and £500 worth of discounts with a number of retail partners. Now, the criteria for getting an Amex business card isn't as stringent as Capital on Tap's offering, with the only requirements being that you're based in the UK, you're over 18, and you have a permanent UK address. So if you're a relatively new business and you can't apply for Capital on Tap's card, Amex's card is a strong contender. The final card that I've had some experience with, although not that much, is the cashback card from a company called Jeeves. And those guys claim to reward cardholders with up to 3% cashback on eligible purchases for the first 90 days and then 1% thereafter. Now, in principle, this card sounds great and I would really have liked to have added it to my wallet, but the application process is so long-winded and it requires the completion of a phone interview, and even after doing that, you're required to provide a ton of verification documents that, in my opinion, are over the top and actually quite intrusive. Now, even though I did submit all those documents and I met their high minimum turnover threshold, which is £10,000 per month, I was then met with radio silence from my account manager, despite the fact that I followed up repeatedly. So in the end, I just gave up. But your luck may differ, so don't judge the card just on my experience. The main attraction of the Jeeves card, if you do manage to get one, is that it's got a leading reward scheme through its cashback and retailer discounts. It's free and it comes with a decent expense management phone app that allows you to keep on top of all of your spending. However, despite describing itself as a credit card, it's actually a charge card that is nowhere near as flexible as the Amex offering, because there's a credit limit, and rather than giving you up to 56 days to repay your card's balance, you have to make the repayment as soon as your current statement period ends, which in some circumstances could mean that you need to repay an expense that you've incurred just a few days after the purchase. Not super helpful if you're a cash intensive business, but probably something that won't bother you too much if you run a business that has low working capital requirements. So whilst I haven't actually had the pleasure of using the Jeeves card, I did want to mention it in this video because in my view, it has the best range of benefits for a free card, and the repayment criteria may be something that doesn't actually bother you. Overall, if you're eligible for all three and you run a business that is quite cash intensive, my vote goes to Capital on Tap. And that's because it's got a really flexible repayment policy. It's got great cashback, which I actually prefer to getting points. And there's no charge for those foreign purchases, which is really important if you have a lot of costs in dollars and euros. Now, if you're not eligible for Capital on Tap, then why not consider the Amex option for the first year? And then once you hit the minimum turnover requirement, you can try applying to Capital on Tap again. If you want to apply for any of these cards that I've mentioned, check the description of this video where you'll find referral links that give you £100 cashback for Capital on Tap or a ton of extra points with Amex. That's it for this week's video. Enjoy the rest of your day and I will see you next time.